The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, and J.M. Jon Kerr.
Hey, Pete, how are you, sir?
Don't call me sir, I work for a living. Before people start showing up at the bar here, let's talk about your podcast you got going on. You got a little something cooking, don't you, since we last spoke?
You know, it's well, thanks for asking. Yeah, it's something during football season that I do. So it's something I'll probably keep doing even when the Scouts run ends. But it's called Slants and Arrows. It's football oriented, just talking to ex-players, current players, coaches. So just a fun way to have some conversations with interesting people, right, Pete? So that's the whole point of podcast, right?
Like we've seen with this election, people are no longer wanting to see 8-minute snippets of edited stuff.
Yeah.
They want to see the whole thing. So, I think podcasts are the new way. Well, they've always been the new way, but more people are starting to adapt to it. Thank you, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, if you read what certainly there's been a lot of analysis, right, Pete, since the election, and you see that, Trump, whether it was his son Barron, saying, "Hey, pops, check out this, TikTok or podcast, whatever it is." It worked because he was able to get a lot of those young males and find them where they are, which is usually online on YouTube and listening to guys like Rogan.
Right. Now, people don't realize this. We may talk about this a little bit later in the show, but it's just you and I talking.
Yeah,
you're the what do you call the 8th grade football coach? What do you call that? The thing that you coached or coached?
Yeah. So the youth program, junior football, right, which is sponsored by the Lake Forest, rec department, junior scouts, right. So I am the varsity, one of the varsity coaches, which is the 8th grade team. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
you get 7th graders, but mostly 8th graders. Yeah. Hey, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You got your lacrosse hat on?
This is a Lake Forest Scouts hat. It's for all sports.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can get one, and you can get one at Kittle's, and I think they also sell them at the store at the it's at the school, and they also have a little store during the games, during the home games.
Joe Weiss is our representative now. Now that he has a child going to this school, my nephews no longer go there, so I have to live through Joe, with the exception of this Saturday, which I will. The game is this Saturday, the playoff game.
Correct.
Okay, I will be going because I am the definition of a fair weather fan. I will be showing up, and the game is in town. I will be there, sitting in the back of the pickup. Keeping an eye on things. Uh, but John, tell me what's going on with the scouts now, because you're the eighth grade coach. You see the inflow of the talent that's coming in. Could you have projected this, 3 years ago? That was COVID, wasn't it?
Well, it's funny. Like last night, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine whose dad is I'm sorry, his son is a junior on the scouts team, and I've coached with him for a number of years. And he had a picture on his phone from the spring 2021 season, which was an abbreviated season, which was coming out of all that COVID hysteria, and the high school was able to have a very abbreviated, short 6-week season.
Was it like March?
Yeah, it was like in April. Yeah, I think it started in late March, went to April. And they had a great team that year. I thought that 2020 fall team had a chance to go to the state championship, led by Richie Hoskins, who's now at Vanderbilt. Certainly there was it was a very, very heavy senior class. Leo Scheidler was on that team, who's now at Notre Dame. So there was a lot of talent there. And in that picture, he was showing me a picture of our team picture that year. And there's probably 10, 11, 12 guys on that spring team that are now either juniors or seniors on this current incarnation of scouts. To answer your question, I thought they could go very far because it's a large senior class. There's like 40 guys, I think, which makes up, I don't know, Joe, like maybe 25% of the boys in the entire,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but quantity doesn't always necessarily mean quality, right? Just because you have a large class doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be good. But this particular group is outstanding, and they've got some key juniors as well who are contributing, and even one sophomore named Jack Berger, who is a terrific talent. So yeah, I don't think you can ever see them necessarily, getting as far. And I think they're going to win on Saturday. I think they're going to face Curry Grove in the semifinals. But I think it's a combination of just these guys kind of growing up together, but being good in other areas, not just in football, but in other sports. Outstanding coaching, and I think I think you'll see this Saturday when you go to the game, Pete. They're well liked. This is a student body that I think really embraces these guys, and they're well liked, I think, amongst their classmates.
And they have a really good PA announcer too at the home games.
Yeah, I got some issues with that, but maybe we can talk about that offline.
I hear he's getting old.
Can we see?
Get a nice write-up in the school newspaper.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, I didn't really, Joey's in the Forest Scout. Okay, wow, he's really arrived. Yeah.
He's forgotten how to use Zoom. That's all right.
Please turn me on, Pete.
Here you go. It's called Start Video.
Didn't have the link.
Whoa.
Listening to you guys yap like ladies. My goodness.
Hey, we can say ladies again.
What's going on, Mr. Kerr?
Mr. Walker, what's happening?
Too much. Joe, you just buy that stuff? Bend the brim a little bit.
Bend the brim? You like it?
Yeah.
It's better than that trucker's hat. That's more for the summer.
Skoo, to catch you up, we're talking to Jon Kerr. As we all know now, he's he's also the eighth grade coach, and we were talking about the projection of this team, and it's going very far. And as Skoo has astutely made me aware that if we have a couple injuries here and there, the depth isn't there. I don't know if it is or it isn't. And Kerry Grove, it seems like every year we're playing these guys in this freaking. Is this the Final Four or Final Six? What is Final Eight? What is this?
You asking me? 8. You picked them all, right? Quarterfinals.
Okay.
Does anybody know the actual playoff structure?
Yeah, Joe,
I think they were called,
IHSA.com.
yes,
Brackets.
IHSAfootball.com. You call this the round of 8, which would be, yes, the
Okay.
quarter. Start with,
But now this Saturday, just to be clear,
start with
this Saturday
32.
they're playing Geneva this Saturday at
Rematch.
1 o'clock.
Skoo
Well,
on
they're
the call.
playing Carey.
Skoo on the call there at Varsity Field. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
A rematch
Geneva.
from last year.
Okay. I told you, I've been a fan for a long time, and I'm really ramping it up right now. This
Time
Saturday.
fan, first time caller.
That's
Pete
right.
doubted they could beat Libertyville. He was a doubter.
I was a doubter too.
Not surprised. I finally hear from Pete now they're in the quarterfinals. I get nothing all season long.
And it's because I told him. I said, we should get Kerr on the show.
They're having this great season. I'm thinking, all right, when am I going to hear from Pete? And he'll invite me on. And then, okay, finally they get to the quarterfinals.
He's got his own show. I mean, they focus directly on Lake Forest football. Is that right, John?
Hey, Pete, we understand that there's been a few things going on in this country over the past few months, right? And now I think let's focus on this terrific Scouts football team, which deserves the recognition.
Well said.
And hey, guys, the Herald showed up. The Daily Herald, yes, which still does print, I think, a newspaper. They actually showed up at Libertyville on Saturday.
That's because they specialize in Libertyville.
That's right. Oh, it's really if the game were at Varsity Field, we wouldn't see these guys. I know. And Michael O'Brien from the Sun-Times actually graced everybody with his presence.
They're all working out of the same mobile trailer.
Hey, come on. I come from Legacy Media, guys.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
a happily laid off member of Legacy Media.
Oh, yes.
Multiple times, actually.
So Skoo, you were talking about the depth of this team. If how every year I've seen that there's always been injuries. We haven't had it this year. It hasn't been a big of an issue. So we've been lucky this year.
We've had injuries. See, Lick Zurich. They had a couple linemen, I think, were injured, and they just got blown away on both sides of the line in that game. But now they're healthy, and you're seeing what they're doing.
Now that I know we're playing Geneva, does anybody know anything about Geneva except it's far away?
Well, they played them last year in the quarterfinals, I believe, right, John?
Correct. Well, in the second round, right? In Geneva, yeah. So Geneva is in the Duquesne Conference, all the way out there in Kane County. Beautiful this time of year. Although I can't say I would be too excited about driving out there on Saturday. Happy to get at home. So I can hear Skoo on the call. And yeah, they're good guys. I mean, they're 10-1. They finished tied for the Duquesne Conference Championship. They got a really good quarterback named Tony Chihino, 6'1", 205. He can throw it, he can run it. And they got a wide receiver who is a Georgia commit. And not like a college in Georgia, like the University of Georgia. Athens, Georgia, yes. The Georgia Bulldogs, 6'1", about 175, can run, he can catch. The scouts will have to figure out how to defend him. His name is Talyn Taylor. He got about 36 Power 4 offers, so he's a good player.
Indiana?
I don't know if Indiana came through. I'm guessing he may not have noticed that one. So.
Wait till Indiana plays Ohio State.
Right.
What would you want to put on it, Joe? I'll take the spread.
Go Hoosiers. Yeah, I know. How about the Hoosiers? I know. So just to wrap it up, yeah, they're a quality team. I think they were better a year ago. I thought they were a tougher team a year ago, but the Scouts are better. This is a different team than they were a year ago. So it's not going to be a 42-7 drubbing like Geneva gave like Forest last year. This is going to be a close game, much like Libertyville. And usually in these games, it comes down to who makes the least amount of mistakes and who can execute in the red zone. When you get bogged down inside the 20, who can score touchdowns as opposed to kicking field goals. Special teams plays, key penalties. Libertyville had a bunch of key penalties in that game on Saturday. And Lake Forest had that big 98-yard drive, right, guys, which will go down in history.
That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible, that drive. And the way the game ended was just really cool. That's something those guys are going to remember for They'll be talking about it at their class reunions decades from now. But hopefully they'll get some more memories with this week and going on. But Danny VanCamp, we've talked about him a little bit before. Real star there as a quarterback. He's got a lacrosse scholarship, right? To what school is it?
Well, initially, it was Rutgers, and then last I've heard it is Yale. I don't know what Danny's status is, if he's accepted that offer. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he's keeping his options open because he's having a heck of a football season.
Sure.
I'm not saying he's doing that, but it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, he's a two-sport guy who's, we're talking somebody who's been 6'4", 220 pounds. He can throw it all over the field. You guys have been to the games, except for Pete, who'll finally find it on Saturday.
I'll be there. First time in 2 years. I'm sure they're still doing the shotgun.
Yes, yeah, they will go on to
enjoy some Duffers hot dogs.
Come on, how about left bank, guys? We're going to be supporting local here, guys. I mean, a little more left bank. I mean, I know Duffers is local, but left bank's a little more historical.
Sure. Well, Duffers is at the game. I'll say Jeff Urso's got the
you're right.
Trailer back there. Yeah.
Yeah. If I do hot dogs pregame, I'm definitely going to left bank. But I would say they have a running back named Marty Hipple, who is also a terrific running back, also a lacrosse player. They get a real good receiver named Charlie Marquis, number 2. And another guy named Bink Hartline, number 11. I mean, so they got skill guys. This is a team, guys, that can score.
I think Berger's their best receiver out of all of them, the sophomore.
Yeah, you can certainly make that argument. Yeah.
I'm intrigued. The sophomore? Like, is he fast, tall? Like, why? What number? What am I looking for?
25. He runs routes and adjusts to balls better than I've ever seen a receiver.
Interesting.
I would say, Skoo, that they, from a pure talent perspective, you could argue that Jack and Charlie are they're different types of receivers, and they're used a little bit differently. Charlie is that traditional number 1 and can run pretty much any route, and somebody that defenses have to account for. So I think Jack benefits from the fact that defenses have to bracket Charlie, and he benefits from the open space, I think, there. But Jack is, for somebody to be an underclassman, which technically he is, and to make the plays that he makes in space, Danny VanCamp trusts him. You can see in that Libertyville game when they got that one long pass to Charlie Marquis, and they said, we're going to go for it. And he threw the ball to Jack, and Jack just made a great catch in the air. He's a 7-on-7 guy, and you can tell from the extra work he does in the offseason. But that's the difference between this year's team and last year's team, I think, is a skill talent. The defense is good. They got a really good edge rusher named Finn Goodman. They got good linebackers in Tim Dan and Jimmy Scheidler, right? A name that we know very well around Lake Forest.
Scheidler, right? I know that name.
Yep.
Well, they also got the last couple games is a couple offensive players they've moved over. Number 2, Charlie Marquis had 2 picks.
Correct.
Which you kind of shake your head. Wait, they're on offense or defense?
I know.
You don't see that with the scouts often.
You throw out all the stops in the postseason, right? Yeah, Coach
Marty Hipple was in there, made a big play.
No doubt.
So wait, we got two-way going on?
A little bit, yeah.
All or nothing, baby.
On key plays or all the time?
In certain situations.
Okay.
Yeah, in certain situations. So I don't know what they'll do this week, but
they needed 2 interceptions last week, so they put in Marquis.
And one was for a touchdown. One was a pick 6, which really turned the game around. Libertyville scored the first drive. The Scouts went for it on 4th down, kind of deep in their end zone, didn't get it. Libertyville scored. And then they brought in Charlie Marquis and also Marty Hipple, who's their running back I mentioned earlier. And they did basically what you call like a 3-high safety look. So you basically, it's 3 guys rush, 8 guys drop. And the quarterback for Libertyville, his name was Quinn Shambo, who was putting up these like Madden-like numbers this year, just 3,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. When you got 8 guys you're looking at, right? It's a little more, you're not sure who to throw to. And he got confused.
Going to Oklahoma State as a catcher. Scholarship.
Right. Yeah. Outstanding athletes. And that's a really great team that beat guys, right? Libertyville beat them twice.
Well, here, the thing I think, John, is you can agree or not agree. I think the Scouts were the better team. I think Libertyville had the better talent, player for player. My take on that was just that both games, Libertyville is a big play team. They live and die on it. And the Scouts drove the ball, took the possession, and I think that's what won the game. But boy, those guys, but they can hit big play after big play because of the talent they have.
I would say no. I think that's a good point, Skoo. And my counter to that would say, I think if you look at the depth of the roster, Lake Forest, they got the roster right here. I think they got like what 65 guys, I think, on this year's team, maybe 60 in that level. If you went down the 60 for Libertyville, I'd say it's comparable at the depth of
Oh
the
yeah,
roster.
I'm talking about the starters.
Yeah, the high end, they have more high end guys. I mean, they have 5 Division I guys on offense. 5.
Right.
Lake Forest has, I mean, in terms of offers and guys that have committed for
And
football.
Libertyville has one player that you actually are scared of in La Vista.
La Vista, yeah, La Vista,
Yeah.
La Vista. Yeah.
That guy was, I mean, that's a generational talent.
Yeah, and the scouts did, I think, did a really good job on him in the second game. He got his yards, but they prevented the
The ball
explosive.
finds him.
Yes.
That's the amazing thing about that kid is the ball finds him and he responds to it. But
Boys, I'm trying to take notes here for Saturday. Is it still a defensive-minded team because of the head coach? And if so, one of the rules of thumb is you never let the best player beat you. So who are they going to lock down? Are they going to play more DBs? Like, what's your guess, John?
I don't know if they'll do the same thing they did against Libertyville because now the book is out, right? So Geneva has seen the film on that, so they can counter it. They might do some sort of form of that. I think they'll definitely have to bracket or double Talyn Taylor, who's the that Georgia commit. So I think he's
that's
the guy that they want to get the ball to for sure. So they'll have to do something special or different for him. You can't just man up on that guy and take your chances because he'll just beat you. To answer your question about, I think any other year, I would say with Spagnolia's coach, they are a defensive-minded coach. I don't think so this year. I think this is, and even Chuck will say that. Chuck will pick that. So yeah, I think they're this is a good defensive team, but they are a great offense.
so the quarterback, Lake Forest, from what I've seen 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years ago, they always got a quarterback that'll run when something's not developing. Are you saying that the offense is more developed now where the quarterback doesn't take off, or he does both?
Well, Skoo remembers this because she remembers the Richie Hoskins years
Yeah.
and remembers the kind of Leo Scheidler years, right?
Yeah.
When those were quarterback-oriented offenses. This is a quarterback-oriented offense, but not in the run game. VanCamp is not a run-first quarterback, so he's a traditional drop-back guy. He can run, he can move, he's got good escapability.
He can run and he can take people out. He's a big,
220.
He wasn't playing
225
defense
pounds.
on Lacrosse for a reason.
Yeah, right.
He's a banger.
There's no question. So
and he should be every single 1 yard to go type of play should never be in the shotgun.
Right.
That kid's too big. He can just fall over the line and plow his way through instead of, getting unique. But I think he's learning that slowly. That is the coaching staff that just plow him. And they did that, They tried to do it one time and they didn't get it in the first half. And then they just said,
late in the game, right?
Skoo through. Yeah. I mean,
remember because it was kind of frantic at the end because they
that was nerve-wracking at the end.
Yes, it was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, right, Joe. And Pete, they're on the 3-yard line. It's like, what are they doing here? They playing for a timeout. They spike the ball, then they run it to Marty Hipple. And I talked to Phil Dewald, who's the offensive coordinator after the game. He said, "Yeah, we were playing for a field goal." So he tried
That's what it looked like.
And then there's 6. I'm like, either call a timeout or run a play here, right? And they hike it to Danny under center, and he just plows in. So with 6 seconds left, and they gave them no time to come back. That's the thing.
Right.
You give Libertyville 20 seconds and a couple of plays, they could have come back. They gave him no time to play. So yeah, to answer your question, Pete, I think they are. It's a quarterback-centric offense for sure, but Danny has a different skill set, and he is in complete command of this offense. And he also distributes to. And there's also a tight end named Luke Pasquazi, number 34. Who has really, really helped this offense on the middle of the field because teams can't just defend the perimeter. Now they have to focus on the inside, and so he's got weapons and he gets the ball to him.
Well, you said it. He distributes it. He there isn't any one star of this offense. I mean, it's a really good team game by these guys. Everybody's scoring, and
the key is the offense and defensive line for the Scouts.
They're good.
Those guys move the the line, scouts are going to win. It's just, because they try to get Marty going and really can't. If that line's not moving the ball, he can't get that quick step and cut. But I think that's the key is the offense and defensive line. And when they outperform, they're hard to beat, particularly when you're giving Danny time to pass. I mean, it's that's the thing.
They've been banged up, Skoo, right? This is where injuries have kind of hit them. They lost 2 offensive linemen in the Zion game in week 4.
Right.
They lost their left guard and their left tackle.
I think that next week, John, was what, Lazzaretto? That's where they got kind of manhandled.
Yes. And then Stevenson too. I think they were still figuring out because they had a tough part of the schedule and they lost 2 starters, and then they've had to. But this is where the depth matters. And I talk about, I think the coaching staff has done a great job this year. Is they really have utilized the full roster, and so when you lose a couple offensive linemen, normally that would kill a team, especially at the high school level. But they were able to bring guys from the defensive line to help fill those gaps. Nicholas Nassar, who was a left tackle, he's back. He actually played in the first playoff game. He played against Libertyville, and they've been able to move some guys around and kind of reshuffle some defensive linemen to offensive line. And so it didn't really hurt him that much. We'll see as in these, in the Geneva game, but I give them a lot of credit and for that offensive line for, kind of, because it's not easy. I mean, those guys need reps. Like offensive linemen need to be in sync. And the coaching staff, Tom Soperts, Big Cat Williams, tremendous job coaching these guys. That's why they are where they are.
Big Cat's still around?
Yeah, come on out, Pete.
Hard to miss.
I'll be there Saturday. I told you, I'm a fan.
Good guy, Pete.
I'm a fan. I'm coming.
He's kind of hard to see, but yeah, he's still there.
All right, 2 questions from a faithful fan like myself. When the playoffs happen, doesn't weird things happen with the playoffs, like the A's, Lake Forest goes somewhere else? And number 2, if good fortune falls upon the Scouts, what's next? I'll wait for question 1. Anybody?
Well, what do you mean when you say your question 1? The playoff format?
Well, yeah, is it population? They go into. When I played, it was 6A. That was it. That was the highest you can go. Now there's like, what, 8A, 7A, 6A, 5A, and...
Well, it's all population based.
The
classes.
Enrollment. It's based on enrollment.
Right.
School enrollment.
Yeah. So, but when the playoffs happen, don't the Scouts drop down? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know what you mean by drop down. They're 6A. I mean, they play in a conference with a mix of classes, but yeah, they're a 6A school.
But there's 8 classifications, Pete. There's 8 classifications. It's been, and during the season, it doesn't. I mean, the regular season, the classification doesn't really matter. You're in the conference you're in. Lake Forest plays. They're actually one of the smaller schools in their conference. They play 8A teams. They play 7A teams.
So Stevenson's 6A.
Stevenson more
8A.
now. Stevenson's 8A. So they'll play those teams. So it doesn't. So whatever classification you're in doesn't matter during the regular. It only matters during the postseason.
Yeah.
And then you get placed in with those enrollment-oriented schools. So, so Scouts are, they've typically been in 6A as far back as I can remember. And then the second part of your question was, I cannot remember at all.
What's next? I don't want to jinx anybody, but what? Like,
well, the other part to your question is that the class is then seated, at least 6A seated geographically. Top section is northern, northwest schools, and the bottom sections seeded 16 teams, and that's southern. So, I mean, they're the Scouts, if they win, more than likely will get Cary Grove, which is a challenge. But then, whoever wins that, John, you can say it better, but the southern part of the 6A, you got East St. Louis that, East St. Louis and Richards. I don't know if they both play each other until the semis, but I think 6A is one of the tougher classes in all the state.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's surely better than 7A. If you were Libertyville, this would have been a year you would have preferred to be in 7A. Yeah, that's the thing. What's strange about this.
Why did they, John? Why did they drop down? Was it 2? I heard it was 2 7A schools that got in that bumped them.
Yeah, they
like that?
Because again, you have to get 32 in each, right? So typically you would have the whatever that range of enrollment is. Libertyville was on the higher end of 6A and the lower end of 7A.
Right.
And then when a couple 7A things sort of happened, when a couple teams got in that got the fifth win, that kind of bumped Libertyville down, right? So, and they were in 6A a year ago, but usually they're in 7A. I mean, they won a state championship 20 years ago in 7A when they've had their better team. So this was not a year that they'd want to face Lake Forest, certainly. But Skoo's correct. The lower division will be East St. Louis. East St. Louis is going to beat whoever the heck is left in that bracket. They're going to beat Richards. They're going to beat the Chicago
They
Bears.
play Glenwood
right?
Chatham or something like that.
Yeah. It's
Didn't they lose, John, to the #1 team in the country or something like that?
Lost to IMG. Yeah, they lost like an IMG Academy team.
And
like
it was a close one too.
Yeah, it was like 15-14, something like that. Yeah, super with all-star kids from all over the country. So,
Right.
But Pete, back to what you said. Yeah, the Scouts will probably face Cary Grove. Cary Grove.
You got to go out there again. Jesus.
I'm trying to. No, I think he'd be at home. I think he'd be at home.
What?
I think he'd be at
Okay.
home.
All right. I don't want to get.
How does that work? Is it better record or what? How do they decide who's home and who's away?
Seating?
Well, initially it's seeding. So, like for instance, Lake Forest played. They were the 7th seed. Cary Grove was a 2 seed. So Lake Forest played Mather at home because they were the higher seed. After that happens, what they do is
It's a lower seed, isn't it?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Lower seed. Yeah. So, or gets better seed, right?
Right. Right.
Exactly. So they get the home game. Then Lake Forest had to go on the road to play Libertyville because Libertyville was also a higher seed, right? But let's say, for instance, Mather had won, had beaten Lake Forest. Then Libertyville would have been at Mather because they had not had a home game yet. So the way they do it at some point, so Lake Forest, this will be their second home game. Cary is playing their third home game in a row. So because Cary has more home games than Lake Forest, that means Lake Forest would then have that home game in the semifinals. I think it's ridiculous. I don't like that rule at all. I'd be happy to be at home, obviously, for Lake Forest. I think if you're a better team, you've earned that high seed. You should have 4 home games. But the IHSA has done this, I think, for a while now. It's been 2020.
Isn't it kind of, John, ironic? Whenever you get Prairie Ridge or Cary Grove, the Scouts, no one can stop the triple option, but yet that's what we did for eons and eons and eons, right?
No, yeah, for sure, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, the old wishbone, right, which is an early incarnation of the triple option, and yeah, I mean Lake Forest, 3 years ago, they kind of slayed that dragon when they beat Prairie Ridge.
Right.
Last time Lake Forest hosted a quarterfinal game 3 years ago, that Leo Schuyler, Jahari Scott, Logan Uline, some of those great teams, they in that another crazy finish, they get a late fumble, went on, I think, a 95, 92-yard drive. Skoo, you were there, you called that. I mean, Schuyler hits Jake Milliman with like less than a minute to go. So they've beaten those teams. And again, this Lake Forest team can score. And that's what's been different about it. And they can score multiple ways. Not just throwing the ball or running the ball. They can score throwing and running. That's why I think they match up well against any team in this northern bracket.
I think you got a college size quarterback. I didn't say what division, but a college size quarterback that throws like that. But on top of it, he's got receivers that catch everything and run good routes. And that's the key. One of the keys.
Boys, let's take a breather for a second and recognize, hey, John, how about Mr. 30-year man there, Skoo Walker? Skoo Walker. Did you get your plaque yet? When do you get your plaque?
30 years? 30 years, I mean, as announcer? Wow.
This year? Come on.
Full time. I mean, 30 years, but actually it's a little bit more than that, but not full time 30 years, in and out.
Didn't you get one of those pieces of paper that somebody signed with a little gold thing on it that says merit achievement? Come on.
We'll talk to Matt Montgomery.
He said he was. Oh, give me the phone. All right.
Anyone can do it.
Well, real quick at this. What was the first athletic contest you announced at Lake Forest?
It was a football game that I was asked to sub in for, sitting in the booth at Lindenmeyer.
I'm guessing was that
cold? And I was pulled off the chain gang because something happened or another. But yeah, that was the first, long time ago.
What's Tommy Myers coach back then? Was that Tommy?
Tommy Myers was coaching. Yeah.
Yep.
Every game we used to announce the starting lineups, both teams.
I
Fun.
missed it.
Yeah.
What's
Missed it.
Lindenmeyer?
That's at the high school.
Field at the
At
high
the
school. That
at
is
the
now
field
the
at the high
track
school.
because they forgot to put the track around the varsity field. That's a whole
Well,
nother referendum. That's a whole nother referendum
Yeah,
issue.
right. Another and the original football coach at Lake Forest, beginning
Yeah.
in I think 1935, I believe was the
Yep.
first season of Lake Forest football. And Edwin, right? Edwin Lindemeyer, I believe, was their drawn up plays on. I don't know if he was probably stenciling it or something but I'm guessing it was probably a form of the wing T, is my guess,
Right.
is what they were running back in 1935.
I think what was his name? The first guy in the Wall of Fame was Jake Olson or something like that. Was a running
the
back.
leather helmets.
Skoo, you brought up the Wall of Fame. Isn't there somebody that we always keep talking about? He's a lacrosse coach now. I forget his name. Could you help me?
John Lazzaretto
Yeah,
should be on there quickly.
Jon Kerr. Do you know who this person is?
I know the name, but I'm not.
He
I've
was
heard referenced quite a bit.
he's one of I think 5 people on the true first team Illinois All-State team from Lake Forest. He was I think third.
In lacrosse, we're talking probably what 80s, right, or early 80s, or
Oh God, no. He graduated probably in the
okay.
early 70s.
Well, he's the Bandits coach now, right?
He went on to a football scholarship at Georgia.
Okay, yeah. No, I've heard of John. Yeah, no, I've heard him mentioned over the years. Yeah, and
He was a beast. I think he also did track and still holds some records at the high school. But yeah, he was. But being on the Wall of Fame back then was not. The coaches had to do it, and we unfortunately had coaches that didn't want to submit people on there. But yeah, he should be on there. You know,
But he's the female kids Bandits coach, right? Lacrosse.
Yep, he founded the Bandits, the
Okay.
feeder to the
He's still coaching?
Lacrosse.
He's still coaching?
Well, yeah, not coaching, but he runs it. But I think he does. He has coaches that run it now. But
Yeah. Well, because Tommy was coaching up until this year. Tommy Myers was at Lake Forest College up until this year. He
Right.
stopped coaching this year. But Tommy was coaching linebackers up until 2023. These guys are once a coach, always a coach. If you can physically still do it. Yeah.
So it's anytime we got Skoo on, we bring that up. The other thing I want to bring up is: are we at the point of the year where the scouts start showing up for the next level? Who should we be who are the scouts looking at of the scouts? And then who are the past scouts that are doing good? You mentioned a few names, but just to brush up, so when I have a couple suds Saturday, I can sound like I know what I'm talking
that
about.
question sounds like you've already had a couple suds.
Skoo, I miss you, buddy.
The past scouts and future scouts, what's going on with that? Yeah.
No, the college recruiters, the scouts.
You mean football, right? We're talking football. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking
Well, we're in the final.
Arjun.
Well, when do the scouts? Okay, the Georgia guy. That doesn't mean he's going to Georgia. He can flip that on right. They don't hold.
Right.
They don't keep their word anymore. So, like, who's going to come? What scouts are going to come to the football field to scout the scouts? What are the names?
I mean, colleges that might be scouting these guys. I think in terms of the recruits, that are college level guys on this particular team of this senior class. Certainly Danny VanCamp is on that list. I don't know what sport, I think the lacrosse appears to be where he's headed, but I don't know if maybe he's going to switch to football. Marty Hipple is also somebody I think, but he's more of a lacrosse guy. Arjun Jawanda, who is a center on this team, has already got some Division III offers. That will play itself out as we get
Terlap is going somewhere too.
Signing day. Yeah, Alex
Terlap?
Potentially somebody. Yeah. Terlap is on that list. Although Alex,
and I don't like Terlap, his dad, but his dad's dad played with the Scouts. That's a generational name.
I even know Max Terlap. That was 3 years ago. Okay, all right.
And his dad Jake played on the Scouts, and Jake's dad Dave played on the Scouts.
Jesus, how many kids did they have?
Well, I know of Max and Alex, right? I know Max.
All right.
Max was a great wrestler as well as a terrific defensive lineman on that 2021 team. Went on to college. And in terms of like, other guys that I think, Tim Dan, an inside linebacker, I know has some interest in wanting to play in college. There's a few other guys, there's a few juniors. I mentioned, Berger would certainly be on
Right.
that list. I think, again, here's the thing, guys. This is not a collection of stars, right? They usually are not. You're not, the Riley Millses, the Richie Hoskins, the, Kike Frogers, who's now at South Carolina, all SEC punter. Those guys don't grow on trees around Lake Forest, right? So this is a team that has a lot of really, really good players. And most of them will not continue to play in college. Most of them's careers will end, sometime here this month, whether it's this weekend or on November 30th in the state championship game. So yeah, when you watch Geneva on Saturday, they will have more guys that are 3, 4 star guys. But I think, but I'm picking the Scouts. I think Lake Forest, this team is on a roll right now. They're playing with incredible confidence. And I think they're going to win this game on a Saturday.
But scout wise, they're going to have, because Geneva's players, they're going to have numerous scouts there that hopefully
Yeah, there'll be some college.
some of the Lake Forest
guys.
players, if they have a good game, will get looked at where they're in the past they probably wouldn't have, just by fallout there.
Yeah, Finn Goodman is. I think I mentioned Finn Goodman. Finn Goodman's the edge rusher who's also getting some Division III looks. To your point, Skoo, is great. Yeah, the more high profile games you play,
The
right,
more they come out,
the more opportunity for
film.
colleges and to have more film and to have colleges notice you for sure.
Get
I
that.
think the Marquis kid. I don't know if if he's getting looked at, but boy, he's a tall kid, and if you've seen his dad, that kid's going to keep growing and could be a real good prospect somewhere.
Yeah, whenever I see JJ at Chiefs, it's usually, "Hi JJ, what's going on, man?" Yeah, that's usually when I talk to JJ. His dad's a super tall guy. I don't know about Charlie. I don't know if Charlie wants to continue to play sports in college. I don't. I haven't talked to him about that. I know.
I don't know if hoops is his bigger favorite sport or football, but boy,
he's a basketball guy too, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be a key player on the basketball team this year whenever he's done. Yeah.
Hey, how about shifting there, John? How about the 8A bracket? You see that? Who could potentially meet in the finals?
What, Skoo?
You mean like Warren? You mean Warren and Stevenson?
Yeah.
What?
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, I'm kind of pulling up right now while we're talking here, guys.
Because 8A, guys, is seeded not geographically. It's 1 through 32, so it's all mixed up. And Warren and Stevenson can face each other in the championship.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Skoo.
But they have a hard row.
On paper sounds, yeah, and that'd be fantastic for the conference, right? Is Stevenson's not beating Lincoln Way East. They're just not. So they're playing them on Saturday. Hey, shout outs to Brent Becker and Stevenson. They've done an incredible job. He's a class guy, class coach, but they're not beating Lincoln Way East. And Warren, I think, has a chance against anybody in that bracket. I mean, Warren, with the way that they play, hard to defend, they run the football, play good defense.
Would you say that Warren? Okay, so Lake Forest shut down their running back, right?
Yes.
They got to do the same thing to this kid from Geneva, whatever they did against the Warren running back, right? I mean, I don't know how they stopped this kid, but that's a touchdown machine.
Well, the Geneva running back is a kid. His name is number 20. I'm sorry, number 20. I think his name is Michael Romero.
No, I'm talking about the wide receiver. They got to
the wide receiver for
stop
Taylor.
him like they did the Warren kid.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I think. Yeah, Warren. I think that. I mean, they're in that game. They were just swarming to the football. They were just flying to the ball. Their defense was playing so well in that game. They got some turnovers too, which they converted offense. The score was a little more one-sided. 38-7. Yeah, they beat them, but they also turned the ball over quite a bit in that game. And I think this is a different challenge, right, against Geneva, because Geneva runs it. They have a good running game. Their running back's a good player, but they got to stop this pass. And they also have a couple other really good receivers. Geneva, it's not just number one. They have a couple other really, really tall guys who can catch it. A quarterback who's good at keeping his eyes downfield, good at throwing the ball deep. Trust me, guys, if you go to the game Saturday, they're going to see it early in the game. Geneva is going to throw it downfield at least once or twice a quarter.
John, what do you think? I mean, this is the first team I've seen in a long time that, and I think it's hard in high school football unless you're, playing some rinky-dink team, but to turn turnovers into touchdowns, I have never seen a scout team flip turnovers into points like they've been doing.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's been unreal. No, the only team I would actually, the 2022 team, Skoo, which was not very good, that won 3 games, they had a great defense that year, and they turned the ball over. The difference was the offense wasn't very good that year.
Right.
This year's team is every single game. They are, and that's what I think you're going to see that again on Saturday. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And
it's rare.
Converts it. They convert to touchdowns. Yes,
Yeah.
I would say. I got to pull up. I've got to go back this week before Saturday to actually pull up all the stats and get a number for that. But I'd say it's over 50% in terms of converting takeaways.
Oh, it's crazy.
And certainly in touchdowns, the number would be very high for sure.
I mean, you don't see that in high school football unless you're playing, like I said, a team that's well below you. But high competitive games like the games. Crazy how they turn turnovers into touchdowns.
Hey boys, take a breather. Let's take a breath. Let's flip it since this is the Lake Forest podcast. Did the Bears just burn another quarterback?
No, I don't. But they got to get the coaching situation right, and so I think it comes down to the next coaching hire. That's
head coach.
Yes, I mean Eberflus is done. I mean, there's no way that they can keep him after what's happened.
The tight end from St. Viator, Komet, he spoke out 2 or 3 weeks.
Did they trade him?
Huh?
Did they trade him?
No,
they didn't trade Komet.
Oh, he just hasn't been playing.
His grandfather was my high school gym teacher, by the way.
The joke.
Cole Komet's grandfather was my gym teacher in high school.
Did you have to climb the rope?
Was he a really good dodgeball coach, Joe? Was that?
We didn't do dodgeball in high school. That was junior.
No.
Hold on, you. But did the team get lost when Komet came out in public and said, "Hey, man, we can't practice like this"? Is that when it? I know it's been going on before that, but like what happened that led up to this? That Waldron had to be the scapegoat. Eberflus is gone. When did they lose it? Did it all start by going on HBO's Hard Knocks?
Oh, come on. The Jets are on Hard Knocks. Look how good they're doing.
I think Winnipeg Jets are doing good.
Hey guys, football reasons. I thought it started when they didn't draft any offensive linemen. The offensive line is terrible,
Exactly.
I think the Scouts have a better offensive line right now than the Bears.
When Poles drafted the punter from Iowa in the 4th round, I can bet you just on their performance that he's probably saying, "Oh crap, we don't need any linemen. Our offense is so good. Let's grab this punter. We won't never at the punt, but let's
John,
grab him."
What did Caleb say?
He's their best offensive player.
Yeah.
John, what did Caleb say at the draft to the Australian punter? They're never going to use you, man.
Punting is winning.
No, he said, "Hey, man, you're never gonna." He's got more punt yards than Caleb has.
Thank God they have him. Can you imagine if they had someone shanking punts all the time?
No, I mean, you guys, it's what's the sad thing is that here we are again in Chicago.
Yeah,
the same
deja vu all over again.
Well, we could actually get the #1 draft pick again.
So Poles can
just tank, Joe. You're advocating tanking now? Is that what you're saying?
Why not?
Bears don't need to tank.
But what is going on over there? Is McCaskey Virginia's still alive? Is that what the problem is? I don't want to be dire here, but it's an organizational thing where they're getting TV money and they really don't care.
They're like, yeah.
What's the deal?
Well, what's the one common thread amongst I just mentioned? They draft a quarterback. He isn't very good. They fire the coach. Draft Trubisky, Justin Fields, going way back.
They have no talent. They have no talent scouting.
It's the ownership, right? So I don't think the McCaskies have shown any. They don't hire the right people.
Bingo.
And I know they have a president now, Kevin Warren, who came from the Big Ten Network, had an NFL background. They hired him mostly to get the stadium situation figured out, which is, now they got a new site, with Arjun
Like Reese Hospital now.
Yeah, they got to figure that part out. But but they don't seem to know how to hire the correct management people, and those people don't seem to know how to hire the right coach, and those people don't seem to know how to draft the right people. So it's an alignment thing, which you hear now in corporate America. Now it's about alignment. So the best thing can probably happen if you're a Bears fan is like what happened to me as a Washington guy. That was my team of my youth, the Redskins, and I hope the ownership goes back to the Redskins name. Was get rid of the owner, right? They finally had to sell the team, right? And they got new ownership in there. Everything changed.
Well, but they got rid of him because of stuff he was doing off the field.
Well,
nothing to do with how he owned the team or ran the team.
Correct.
It was his behavior off the field. But
Correct.
yeah,
they had
they
to
should
sell
just what they should do. My opinion is they should just say to the McCaskies, "Look, we will give you 10% ownership, a skybox for life." And we'll name the new something at the new stadium for you and George Halas, and then just get a real owner in that can make it happen. I mean, look at the Chiefs, look at the Lions, look at how the Detroit Lions went from being the joke of the NFL to being, I think, the best team in the NFC.
Well, Dan Campbell's no Eberflus. John, am I looking at this like when the Tribune owned the Cubs? It's the same situation with the Bears.
Well, I think the difference is that he can't. I mean, the Bears are under kind of a legacy family, right? The McCaskies aren't going to sell, right? So at least in the case of Tribune, that was a cash grab, right? When Sam Zell came in there and bought the team and tried to flip it, I mean, that's what he was trying to do, which private equity guys do, right? You're seeing it in a lot of big media companies now. You see, Alden Capital, these big investment firms come in, buy it, bleed it of cash, and flip it. So I think it's, as a Cubs fan, yes, you could say that was a purgatorial period. But guess what happened? They actually hired the right guy. They finally got the right guy, and who got the right manager in there, Theo Epstein, Joe Madden, who was the right manager at that time. So for the Bears, yeah, I think here's what I think the Bears should do. The Bears, but they won't do it. What they should do is go after Belichick, go after Mike Vrabel, and say, you have full control. Right. You bring in your personnel. We're going to get the heck out of the way and let you run the franchise. That's what they should do, but they won't do it.
I think the problem, and in my opinion, is the GM. They don't, like you said, John, they don't hire the right people. They don't hire the right GM. It just seems
he didn't hire the right coach.
Has no clue on talent.
Offensive line talent. He knows how to hire. He knows how to sign like old, broken down wide receivers like Keenan Allen, and he knows how to draft like wide receivers. But again, the offensive line is the biggest problem with this team, and what you don't want to have happen with Caleb Williams is now he's too afraid to fail. Like he's not. If you watch their games, like it's okay if you throw a pick. It's okay if your first read is the wrong read. You're a rookie. You'll figure it out. You don't want him to become tentative and too afraid to make mistakes. And that's a scary thing if you're a Bears fan. So they got to fix him.
John, let me get you.
New OC will turn around. We'll see, but probably not.
Let me get you psyched up here, John. What if your boy Jayden Daniels was at the Bears? What if they picked him number one? How would he do in this situation?
I think he would be struggling too.
Same, better or worse?
Probably not as bad because he can run a little bit. Look at
the last two quarterbacks. They come with good arms and they can run, right? These idiots at the Bears are trying to, how come they're not running when they're in trouble? They just sit there because they're being, hamstrung.
Yeah, they're being coached.
For some reason, they want to be drop back quarterbacks and they're not.
Yeah,
Stop drafting those then.
I guess where I'm going for is, above the neck, who's because in the NFL, everybody's a great athlete. It's who's got it upstairs that can process the information the quickest. It seems to me Jayden Daniels picks it up a lot quicker. I don't know what the coaching situation is like over there.
Well, but if you want to be a drop back quarterback, they should have got the Drake May kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Daniel Jones.
He looked pretty good on Sunday, didn't he? I mean, May look pretty good. Yeah, but Pete, to your point, I don't think it's the job of an offensive coach is to design a system that fits the strengths of the quarterback. So in the case of Washington, it's not very complicated what they're doing, with now the problem with Daniels is because he's a scrambling guy, he gets hurt. And I think he was supposed to remember the game against the Bears. He was not going to play during the week, and then he played.
Said, "Oh yeah,
he hasn't been yeah, right." We all remember about that one, right? So I was texting some of my Commanders buddies, going like, "Oh crap, can you believe this?" Oh yeah, I believe this. The crazy finish of the game. So you have to be, it's a little risky sometimes with a running quarterback, because defenses can kind of figure that out too. But no, I just feel bad again from a Bears perspective. It's like, and now they get the tough part of the schedule, right? Now you got to face the Lions twice, the Packers, get the Vikings.
You're going to have a lot of people saying, "Oh, my hammy." Can you say that Houston game, everybody can remember this play when it was 4th and 1, and they ran that option and it just got stuffed and the old line was all laying on the ground. I think that was it. That season over.
He's saying week 2 against the Texans. That was
it. That was it.
Foreshadow of the Bears season.
They killed another one. It's hard to come back, especially when you're getting your 20 mil. It's like, I'll be a backup forever. Jon Kerr, how can people learn a little bit more about your podcast? Because how many more are you going to do in season for the Scouts football?
We'll see about in season. I mean, it depends on guests and who's available, and and how that works. I do
Pete's always available.
Well, Skoo.
Right. So I know that I can count on Pete Jansons to break down that kind of Scouts defense for me, right? Yeah, because I know he watches a lot of film, right? So, so I think you can just go to GoScoutsFootball.com. My newsletter is free. Just give me an email address, and you get all the content. I also write a newsletter where I kind of write more about things outside of sports. You can just go to that's the Kerr Report, Kerr.substack.com. You can subscribe to that. It's also free, and so hopefully talking a lot of football here for a couple more weeks following this Lake Forest Scouts team.
Yeah, I highly recommend your newsletter. It is
thank you.
Great read. Great read.
Appreciate that, Joe. Thank you.
Skoo, hey John, where's your I see in the background there, where's your LeBron picture? So that should be above Michael.
Yeah, that would be a floor mat, actually. That would be a floor mat. Yeah, the Bravo. So no, there's an empty space right next to the Michael. I would put Julius Irving in there, actually, if I still had my old poster of the ABA Dr. J with the dunking on somebody with that red, white, and blue. So yeah, quite the cultural melting pot. Vincent Vega and Michael Jordan, right? That's quite the
Lake County Clerk right there.
The nexus of sports and politics, right there.
Skoo, I need a little update since I haven't been there for a while. Is the Drunk Wives Matter section still open?
Yeah, I don't know.
You suck.
Yes, they're still there.
Check, please.
That was back in the day when the Scouts were struggling a little bit.
Well, you still get a few cat calls from the crowd. I don't know if you can hear them up in the booth, but
I hear every single one of them, Joe.
Can you recite the sportsmanship thing?
Yeah, right now. Yeah. No one's violated it yet.
All right. Hot cocoa or orange slushies?
Lobster rolls are going to be on the agenda, or on the docket.
So you're saying
lobster bisque and lobster rolls.
You're saying everybody's sober, that there are some violators of that, Skoo? Is that what you're implying here?
Well, when I
implied it.
When I have to reread the sportsmanship award, that means something major has occurred, and you get the call from the field. Yeah, it's good. Can you announce the sportsmanship award again, or announcement again?
It's not the husbands, it's the wives. They're out of their gourd. I see it myself. Woo!
I didn't think that Stevenson ref was going to make it. They even go to the away games, and that ref at the Stevenson game really took it from the parents.
Yeah, and in that case, Joe, deservedly so. I mean, that was outrageous. What happened to Bink Hartline in that game? Just we don't have time on the podcast to kind of litigate that, but that was just horrendous what happened. I would just say, guys, look, in America we have freedoms, and you have the freedom to be as rambunctious and obnoxious as you possibly want to at a sporting event. That's what I am. That's what I am.
Classic all the way
Advocating for
around.
These,
Classics all the way
these
around.
moms are just supporting the boys, guys. That's all
Yeah.
The only way I've seen these moms get more pissed off is if they're on the pickleball court.
Ooh. Fear the spear.
On that
Fear
note,
the spear. Go
Is that
Scouts.
water? Is that water in that water bottle, or is there something else that might be liquid? Some kind of liquid refreshment.
absolute. Jon Kerr, Skoo Walker, Joe Weiss.
Thanks, guys.
Great show,
Thanks, Pete.
show.
1 o'clock Saturday. Be
1
there.
o'clock Saturday. Always
Got it.
remember, drunk wives matter.
Go Scouts.
Do what you can do. Bye.
Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, and J.M.